On today's episode, the Chicago Blackhawks are back in action tonight, taking on the Seattle Kraken. I'll be getting into a full preview of the matchup, plus the Hawks' projected lineup on Marian Hossa's retirement night at the United Center as the Blackhawks look to avoid losing their 6th consecutive game. All that and plenty more right here on Locked On Blackhawks.
You're Locked On Blackhawks, your daily podcast on the Chicago Blackhawks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to the Locked On Blackhawks podcast, your daily podcast on the Chicago Blackhawks. Today is Thursday, April 7th. I'm your host, Jack Bushman. You can find me out on Twitter at JackBushman2, or you could also go and check out my Strictly Blackhawks account at Talkin' Hockey for all the latest Blackhawks news and updates. And if you're listening to the audio version of today's episode and you like what you're hearing, then please go and show some support first by following the podcast. A quick click of the button. In fact, it'll only take 2 seconds and it'll help me out tremendously. Go and rate the show with 5 stars if you like what you're hearing today as well. And you can also go and leave me a review if you have something positive to say as well. And best of all, it's 100% for free wherever you may be listening to your podcast, whether that be through Apple Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. It's all 100% for free. And if you go and follow the show right now, then you'll be able to get the latest episode as soon as it comes out each day. And if you're not already watching the video version of today's episode, then definitely be sure to go and check out Locked On Blackhawks on YouTube. If you haven't gotten the memo already, folks, every episode from here on out is going to have a video version attached to it as well. So if you haven't done so already, please go and subscribe to Locked On Blackhawks on YouTube. I recently just hit 100 subscribers. I'm really trying to boost those numbers up. Be sure to go and smash the like button on this video as well. And drop in the comment section, what is your favorite Marian Hossa moment as a member of the Chicago Blackhawks? And also be sure to turn on those push notifications for Locked On Blackhawks on YouTube as well, so you can be notified when the episode is uploaded each and every day. All right, good afternoon, everyone. And as always, thank you all for tuning into another episode of Locked On Blackhawks, your one-stop shop for all things Chicago Blackhawks. What a day we have around the world of sports, folks. Tiger Woods is back, currently on the course down at Augusta National for the Masters. I believe he's 1 under through 7 holes at the moment. He stuck a couple of incredible iron shots. We also have Major League Baseball back today as it's opening day, hence why I'm repping my Chris Bryant Cubs Blackhawks sweater. Got to get some baseball attire in there. It's a great day around the world of sports. Both the Cubs and the Sox are in action this afternoon. And then I know the season is already lost for our Chicago Blackhawks, but they'll be back in action tonight as well at the UC, taking on the Seattle Kraken, who is actually one of the few teams in the NHL that currently has fewer points than the Chicago Blackhawks do. Coming into tonight, the Blackhawks are 24, 35, and 11 with 59 points on the season, while the Kraken are 22, 42, and 6 with only 50 points. Only 6 teams have fewer points than the Blackhawks do right now, and the Seattle Kraken is one of them. So this is going to be the third and the final meeting this season between these two teams. Hopefully, the Blackhawks will be able to get off that losing schneid that they've been on here recently. The opening 2 meetings between these two teams, we've seen a split so far. The series is at 1-1. The Blackhawks won the opening meeting back on November 17th. They won that game 4-2, despite only recording 19 shots on goal. They had 4 goals on 19 shots. Marc-Andre Fleury, remember him, Blackhawks fans? Marc-Andre Fleury was really the reason the Blackhawks came away victorious in that one, as he stopped 31 of the 33 shots that he faced to steer the Hawks to victory. And then in the second meeting that came on January 17th, the Kraken were able to pick up a W up in Seattle, sneaking out a 3-2 shootout win. So tonight, the Blackhawks will be looking to take the 3rd game and the season series against the Seattle Kraken. And this is actually going to be the first time that these two teams are meeting at the United Center. Both of the first two games came up in Seattle. And when taking a deeper look at both of these teams and diving into some of the numbers, it's a whole lot of ugly. Both teams rank in the bottom 7 in the NHL in most of the major categories. Both teams are bottom 7 in goals for, goals against, and on the penalty kill as well. The only area where one of these two teams rank outside of that bottom 7 mark is the Blackhawks on the power play. Surprisingly, the Blackhawks, even though I feel like the power play, it's either absolutely on fire or it's cold as ice. There's really no in between. But the Blackhawks actually have the 16th best power play in the entire NHL. So that seems like the one area where the Hawks clearly have an advantage coming into tonight, especially with the power play performing rather well here as of late. The Blackhawks have power play goals in 3 of their last 4 games, and the only game they didn't pick up a power play goal in was that 4-0 shutout loss to the hands of the Florida Panthers a week ago from today. So that's really the only impressive-ish number that either of these teams have posted in the major statistical categories when you match these two teams up. So clearly, this is another matchup between two of the bottom feeders in the NHL this season. And both teams really have not been playing all that well as of late either. Obviously, for the Blackhawks, they have lost 5 in a row coming into tonight, and the Kraken have dropped 4 of their last 6 games. So not as cold as the Blackhawks have been, but still neither of these teams have been picking up victories consistently all that often this season. Something's got to give here tonight at the UC, basically, and hopefully the Hawks will be able to bounce back and get back into that W column after a rough go of things in the past couple of weeks, to say the least. All right, there is a quick little preview of the matchup tonight between the Blackhawks and the Seattle Kraken. Coming up in just a moment, I will get into the Blackhawks' projected lineup for Marian Hossa's retirement celebration at the United Center. But first, I need to talk to you all about HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you can get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable, which is why it's America's #1 meal kit. HelloFresh offers the flexibility that you need to easily customize your online order or through the app. Easily change your delivery day, your food preference, and your plan size. Warm yourself up from the inside out with limited time recipes such as beef tenderloin and cheesy fondue, which I got to try a sample of recently, folks. It really is a great meal that you can make rather quickly, and it tastes tremendous. Doesn't even taste like something that's been delivered. It tastes like you kind of cooked it up yourself at home. And then I also got to try the miso, sesame, shrimp, and bacon ramen, which for all the ramen lovers out there like myself, it's definitely something you're going to need to try, and you probably won't go back to Top Ramen once you do it. And for a limited time offer, go to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and use the promo code LockedOn16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. You heard that right, folks. Just go to HelloFresh.com/LockedOn16 and you can get up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts when you use the promo code LockedOn16. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. All right, we're back here on the Locked On Blackhawks podcast, getting into segment 2 now today. I also wanted to be sure to go over the Blackhawks' projected lineup for tonight's matchup with the Kraken, which will also be Marian Hossa's retirement ceremony at the United Center. If you live under a rock and you somehow missed this news, tonight, Marian Hossa will be signing a 1-day contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. He's actually going to be doing so at the United Center atrium. So Blackhawks fans will be able to witness that. I'm sure they'll be able to chat with Hossa and have a couple of cool moments there. And that's going to happen at 6:15, by the way, for all of you folks who are either wanting to tune in potentially if the Blackhawks pregame is on that early, or if you're going to be actually in attendance at the United Center, definitely be sure to get there early, because that is going to be an awesome moment to witness. And then I'm sure, per usual, knowing the Blackhawks and how they handle these type of situations, I'm sure there's going to be, an awesome video montage for Hossa filled with some of his best moments as a member of the team. Um, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Blackhawks legends in the building, like there was for Jonathan Taves' 1,000th game ceremony this past Sunday against Arizona. So, for a lot of different reasons, I'm definitely excited to see what's going to be on tap for Big Hoss's big night later this evening. And hopefully, the Blackhawks will be able to muster up a better performance for him than they did for Captain Jonathan Taves on Sunday when they lost 3-2 in overtime to the Arizona Coyotes. But as for the Blackhawks lineup tonight against the Kraken, they just recently finished up their morning skate about 30 or 45 minutes ago. And first, we know that Kevin Lankinen is going to be back in net once again here tonight. And man, it's just been such a struggle of a season for Lankson. He really hasn't done himself any favors moving forward in his NHL career. He's only won 4 of 20 starts so far this season, including just 2 since the beginning of December. He's just got 2 victories in his last 13 starts. And for Lankinen, I've talked about this a bunch on the show as of late, but he's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of the season. And I don't really know how the Blackhawks are feeling about him right now. I'm sure they're not as confident as they were right around a year ago when he was really leading the Blackhawks and was the main reason why they had such an impressive first half of that COVID-shortened season. But now, there's definitely some cause for concern at this point for Lankinen. I mean, like I said, just a year ago, this is a guy who I'm sure even people in the Blackhawks organization felt like he could be the future in net for this team. And then, it's just been a down year overall. He hasn't been consistent. He's been losing his net a ton. He has a couple of solid spotty starts in between this year, but he just hasn't been able to consistently get it going and be on top of his game, I've thought. And because of that, I don't really know what's going to happen with Kevin Lankinen in this offseason. I don't even know if the Blackhawks are going to want to bring him back at this point. I know that aside from him, there really isn't any depth at the position throughout the organization aside from Arvid Soderblom, unless something drastic is going to change with Colin Delia. Maybe they offer him the starting spot next year. I still probably don't see that happening. But even if it does, considering how the Blackhawks organization has kind of handled Delia over the past 2 or 3 years, I'm not so sure he'd even want to re-sign here. So it's just really a tough spot for the Blackhawks as an organization to decide what they're going to do in net for next year. It's just a tough spot for Lankinen. He needs to be better. Simple as that. And I'm sure the Blackhawks front office would like to see him have a stronger finish to this year than we've seen from him so far in the past handful of months. Because if they are going to give him a contract to be the number 1 goaltender going into next season, I think he's got to have a couple of more flashes here down the stretch of the season. He really hasn't shown all that much. When he was the backup for Fleury and really since he's gotten the starting job since they moved Flower to Minnesota at the trade deadline. But as for the rest of the Blackhawks lineup tonight, we do know that Lukas Reichel is going to be in there. He is going to play tonight against Seattle. We don't have any word right now as to what the forward lines are going to look like. But one thing to note is that Reichel did skate on the second line with Jonathan Taves and Kirby Dach during practice yesterday. So that's probably where I would imagine he's going to be fitting into the lineup tonight against Seattle. As for the rest of the forward group, Derek King just spoke to the media and announced that Henrik Borgstrom, Mackenzie Entwistle, and Philip Kurashev are going to be the healthy scratches up front, meaning Boris Kachuk is going to stay in the lineup. So is Reese Johnson. They're both likely going to be on the fourth line tonight, I'd imagine, with Sam Lafferty. That kind of sets up the Blackhawks lineup up front, at least, to go with DeBrincat, Stroman, Kane, per usual, as the top line. Reichel, Taves, and Doc as the second, Kubalik, Tyler Johnson, and Taylor Radish as the third, and then Boris Kachuk, Reese Johnson, and Sam Lafferty as the fourth. That's the way I imagine things are going to play out later this evening for the Blackhawks forward group. And then on defense, Riley Stillman is actually going to be the odd man out on the back end tonight, as our boy Alex Vlasic, baby, is drawing back into the lineup here against Seattle, which I've definitely been an advocate for since Vlasic signed on with the Hawks following his junior season with Boston University. In my opinion, I know other people are kind of feeling differently about this, but listen, if Vlasic's here, like, if he's here, you might as well play him, right? Like, play the kid. I personally don't think that him playing poorly is going to hinder his confidence moving forward as much as other people are worried about. Like, I'm sure Alex Vlasic is well aware that he's probably a little bit out of his league at this point. Like, he knows he came just straight out of college and jumped onto the NHL scene without playing any games at the AHL level. That usually is a massive leap for players to make unless you're, a number one or number two overall pick coming from college. So I'm sure Vlasic is aware of that situation. So if I were him, I wouldn't be thinking this is like make or break time for him or something. No, this is just an opportunity for him to kind of get his feet wet a little bit. Just the way I look at it, just totally spit there. That wasn't great. But the way I look at it, I think you might as well give him some action to learn not only what the NHL level is like and what the pace of the game is like and how different it is from the college level, but also for Vlasic to kind of learn about himself and what he needs to do and needs to work on in order to have success at this level. That's the way I see it. So I'm definitely glad that Vlasic is going to be rejoining the Blackhawks lineup tonight when they take on the Seattle Kraken at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, there is a breakdown of the Blackhawks lineup tonight against Seattle. Coming up in just a minute, I will get into the Hawks looking to avoid hitting yet another rock bottom on the season. But first, I need to talk to you all about Built Bar, which is a protein bar that tastes just like a candy bar. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. And I know we're getting into April. It's hard to stick to those resolutions at this point. But if yours is or was about getting fit or even eating healthier, then you got to make sure to include Built Bar in your plan, because right now you can get the best of both worlds with Built Bar. Delicious and healthy. And so many flavors, you're going to have a hard time choosing. Are you going to go with raspberry or mint brownie? Coconut almond or double chocolate? Cookies and cream or peanut butter brownie? These are real protein bar flavors, folks, all of which are 200 calories or less and have up to 20 grams of protein. And they taste so good. Honestly, either way that you choose, it's going to make it easier to stick to that resolution because they taste so good. You're actually going to want to eat them. They're not dry, chalky, waxy, or even taste like a chemical spill like some other protein bars do. And even if you're not a huge fan of working out, you can at least eat something that tastes good and is also good for you. That way, when you enjoy a delicious Built Bar, you can almost count it as a workout. And for a limited time offer, go to BuiltBar.com right now and use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. That's BuiltBar.com with the exclusive promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next Built Bar order. I also need to talk to you all about Shady Rays. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that gives you the features of $200 sunglasses for just a fraction of the price. That means polarized lenses, well-constructed, durable frames, and premium high-end finishes. Also, something that you won't find anywhere else is Shady Rays' insane protection program. Shady Rays includes lost and broken protection on every pair of sunglasses that you purchase. They will send you a brand new pair if you lose them, no matter what happened. So give them a try, and even if you don't love them, you'll pay nothing. It's as simple as that. Plus, when you buy a pair of sunglasses from Shady Rays, 10 meals are donated to fight hunger in America when you shop with Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, go on and head over to shadyrays.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON, one word in all caps, to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's shadyrays.com with the promo code LOCKEDON for the best sunglasses deal of the season. Welcome back to the Locked On Blackhawks podcast. I'm your host, Jack Bushman. Getting into segment 3 now today before I wrap things up and get back to watching Tiger Woods at the Masters. I also wanted to be sure to talk about a quick dark thought that I had while driving home from work late last night. Some of you may have already seen the tweet that I put out on this, but obviously for many different reasons, it's just been such a disastrous season for the Chicago Blackhawks. Literally a nightmare, both on and off the ice. And those first 2 months of the year honestly felt like an eternity. Like there was just like breaking news and different stories coming out each and every day. It was an absolute whirlwind. That there was Stan Bowman's departure. There was the Kyle Beach situation and all the lawsuits that came with that. Jonathan Toews' absurd comments on Stan Bowman after he resigned. Jeremy Colleton obviously got fired. Remember Jeremy Colleton, folks? Remember when that was a thing? And then there's obviously all the on the ice stuff with the Blackhawks not even coming close to living up to the expectations that were kind of set before the beginning of the season. There was that dreadful run that they went on to open up the year where they didn't even hold a lead through like the first 6 or 7 games or something like that. I honestly don't want to think about it. I kind of threw that out of my mind because it was some of the worst hockey I've ever seen. But do you know what would be the real kicker, folks? This was the dark thought that I had last night. You know what the cherry on top would be of this dreadful season? That would be losing back-to-back games at the United Center. One coming to the Arizona Coyotes on Jonathan Toews' 1,000th game ceremony, and the other being against the Seattle Kraken on Marian Hossa's retirement night. Both of those teams are 2 of the 6 that currently have fewer points than the Blackhawks do at the moment. Both games are coming at the UC, so if the Hawks were to drop this one here tonight and extend their losing streak to 6 games, losing back-to-back while honoring a couple of the biggest legends in the history of this franchise, that would be the real cherry on top to this dreadful season that we've all been witnessing out of the Chicago Blackhawks. So for this game tonight, for the Blackhawks, I mean, they simply have to come out with a victory for Big Hoss against the Seattle Kraken. Please don't bury us fans more than we've already been buried this season. We've been through enough. Cue up the "stop it, he's already dead" gif from The Simpsons. That's how I feel as a Blackhawks fan. I mean, watching these final 12 games, it's going to be hard because there's nothing to play for. The team is in the midst of a terrible skid right now. I mean, there's so much other awesome stuff going on in the world of sports. I'm really like, man, do I still got to watch the Chicago Blackhawks? So please, for all that is right in this world, please just get the job tonight. Get the job done tonight for Big Hoss against the Seattle Kraken. Get off this losing skid. Get back in the W column and give the fans that show up tonight. Listen, it's probably going to be a packed house. There's nothing for this Blackhawks team to play for. There's no reason this building should be full other than it's Marian Hossa's retirement night. There's going to be awesome tributes. There's probably going to be Blackhawks legends in attendance. Those are the reasons why the United Center is going to be filled tonight. So please, Blackhawks, please give those fans something to go home happy about. It just really would be disgusting if they wind up losing both of these ceremonious games at the United Center. So hopefully my late night thought won't come true, and the Blackhawks will get back in the W column against the Kraken tonight for good old number 81, Marian Hossa. All right, folks, I think that is going to wrap up Thursday, April 7th episode of Locked On Blackhawks. Thank you again for tuning into the show, and be sure to go and follow Locked On Blackhawks on your favorite podcast app. Go subscribe on YouTube as well, and you'll be able to get the latest episode as soon as it comes out each day. And after the show, be sure to go and check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey as well, as hosts Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone are going to help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available on all platforms, so be sure to check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey right now, wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, thank you for tuning into today's episode. I'm your host, Jack Bushman. You can find me out on Twitter at JackBushman2, or you could also check out my Strictly Blackhawks account at Talkin' Hockey for all the latest Blackhawks news and updates. And for any questions regarding anything related to the Blackhawks or to the show, feel free to email lockedonblackhawks@gmail.com. You can also go and hit me on any one of my Twitter accounts, or you can call 708-653-0572 to leave a voicemail. So until tomorrow's episode, go Hawks. Let's get off this losing skid. Let's pick up a big W for Marian Hossa. And thanks again for tuning into another episode of Locked On Blackhawks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.